Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Jose from Puro Pinche Sports. It's been a minute, I know. For anybody who's wondering like what's going on, just been a bit busy a few weeks. Art had his baby. Uh, Alex has been doing what a new job, so his schedule's a little off. And then Marco is doing his thing, his internship. So, and I've been just been busy myself as a husband and a father right now. So, hey guys, well overall, I'll give you a little recap of that. But overall, welcome to Puro Pizza Sports. I am, of course, Jose Garza. Um, Guys, I just want to do a quick recap, honestly, with everything that happened last week. I'm not going to make this too long. Should be honestly quick, short. Just my personal thoughts on what happened as far as the NBA trade deadline, UFC 271, and then the Super Bowl 56. And then just that's about it. Nothing too special, nothing too big here today. So overall, let's just get started with it. All right. So of course, anybody that's keeping up with the NBA, we've had like some drama going on in Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving isn't playing at home games because he refuses to get vaccinated, and then the government over there has some rules and laws that prevents him from being able to play there. So right now he can only participate in away games. James Harden has been displeased with that. Because of that, he's requested trade. He's been wanting out. He didn't share the same values of offense, scheme with. That's my son in the background. You can tell, busy father. Um, he didn't agree with the James Harden didn't agree with the schemes with Kevin Durant, so they went a little back and forth. They had different ideologies of things, and so overall, James Harden got traded away to the Philadelphia 76ers, for Ben Simmons, who, if you've been keeping up, he's been Mr. Drama because he got in his feels about being in what he feels a bad environment. Doc Rivers getting after him as a coach should, for not, taking initiative, not taking shots, not being a full participant in practices. Um, and so that made a huge change. Now, you've heard Stephen A. Smith, you've heard other people, say, no, well, Brooklyn won the trade or Sixers won the trade. In my personal opinion, if I have to say, like, I think the Nets won the trade. You get a younger man, younger, hopefully healthier, and Ben Simmons. You get Seth Curry in the trade, so you get some shooting out there. So overall, you really have for Ben Simmons, regardless of what you think of him, you have a lot of good shooters around him. Kevin Durant, Kyrie, Ben Simmons will be a third option. You got Seth, you got mid-range assassin LaMarcus Aldridge. No matter what you think of him defense-wise, he's still a mid-range nightmare. Blake Griffin, if his knees can get him up to dunk, he can shoot the three too. Um, so there's a really good there, and then at the same time, the Sixers they gave up 2 first round picks. So you were trying to get 2 first round picks or multiple first round picks to get Ben Simmons, but Daryl Morey, who has history with James Harden, did not mind giving up picks to get his boy James Harden, who you could argue is still good, but not the same level as Houston Harden, right? Because that man was assassin, sometimes 50-point games, 40-point games. Can James Harden do that being the number 2 to Joel Embiid? Because right now he's in his prime for as long as you can get him in his prime. You got Tobias Harris there, you got other pieces. So overall, I think the Nets won the trade. You get 2 first-round picks on top of getting a young all-star. My son, sorry. So I'm gonna go the Nets won the trade. Hopefully we get more discussion with me, and maybe I can get other basketball experts, to talk about the trade situation with the Sixers and the Nets. Mavs trade Porzingis away to the Wizards. Porzingis is just not the same since the injury prior to him getting traded out from the Knicks. He just hasn't been that guy. He he's not the unicorn anymore. He's not the special talent. He's still really good. He still could do pull out some games where he can be the guy, but it was good for the Mavs to move on from him because he wasn't working well with Luca. It just Luca's a guy, and Porzingis believes he's a guy. I'm not sure how that's going to entail really with him and Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma there. We'll see how that goes, but overall, I think Mavs got the better deal, especially with getting Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, who, hey man, that's a 3-point shooter right there. So that's a win for there. All right. Celtics acquired Derek White from the Spurs. Man, the Celtics got a good player, regardless of what you think of him. Good defensively, good at the shooting. He will draw in those charging fouls like no other. And to put him on that same team with Marcus Smart. Nightmare. But the Spurs did acquire some first round picks with that. Well, the 2028 first round pick swap with the Celtics and a 2022 first round pick. That's for the Spurs, they are in rebuilding mode. That's a win for them. And then you get an older Josh Richardson. That's fine. The man can still play. There ain't no problem there. Romeo Langford, he'll probably be right in the bench. It's just Spurs, guards. It's too deep. So, all right. Daniel Theis going back to the Celtics. The Rockets get Dennis Schroeder. Should have accepted that contract from the Lakers, buddy. They get Ennis Freedom, which I believe he's going to get released or bought out. Too much controversy going on there. Let the man play. He can still play. I mean, and his kind of freedom is not a scrub. He can still be good as a backup 4 or 5. On that one, I'll say Celtics win. Celtics were really active that trade deadline, so we'll just move on from that. The Bucks get Ibaka in a 4-team trade. They get him, second round pick from Sacramento, second round from Detroit. Overall, this whole trade, and with Marvin Bagley, the third, getting traded to the Pistons, it's really between those guys. You got Rodney Hood, who goes to the Clippers. You got someone like Dante DiVincenzo going to the Kings. Serge Ibaka is a piece of need, to like really help with the 4 and 5 when Giannis is in or out of the game. So that's a really good pickup defense wise. Marvin Bagley, hopefully he gets his rejuvenation. I know he's had a lot of drama with the Kings, but move him on forward. He needs a fresh start, and hopefully this is the one he needs. Montrezl going to the Hornets. He's so small for a center. Power forward, small forward, he can do a lot. He can be an animal, but he needs the right guys around him. And I think with LaMelo Ball being there to really, pass as a facilitator, he's a shooting guard, but he's one of the guys I'll keep keep him close, keep him active for sure. As well as Terry Rozier. So we'll see how that goes. Torrey Gregg returns to the Suns. Great pickup for Jalen Smith, who goes to the Pacers, who a lot of people have been disappointed about. Suns trade and Holiday. I'm just gonna skip up through a lot of these. The Spurs got a first round pick along with Goran Dragic for Thaddeus Young and Drew Eubanks. And they also gave up a second pick for it. That's a good trade. I mean, they are going to drop Goran Dragic and they pick up the first round pick. That's good for them. Bol lands the Magics. There's really not too much going on. Sabonis, we'll leave that for that. That was the 8th. So Sabonis goes to the Kings. Sabonis needs to get out of purgatory. The Kings, Sacramento, that's purgatory. All right, so moving on, we're gonna go with UFC 271. So originally I was gonna do it that night or the next day, the review right before the Super Bowl, but there were some technical issues of where I was watching the fights, so wasn't able to watch it cleanly. Unfortunately, it was too staticky. The internet in the area that I was at, it's not good, and it had nothing to do with the owners of the house. It's purely the internet, the area, and stuff like that. So, I was able to recap it when I came back home, watching it there on my TV. The Bobby Green fight, fantastic work, showing that that he hasn't slowed down, like regardless of his age. He's got that, that grit. He was eating some jabs, but man, he was returning. His crisp boxing was perfection, and so. Nazar Hakbarash, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but dude, it's a lesson learned. His boxing needs to be more crisper. His movement, he's just standing still in front of Bobby Green. And that's just a bad day. He's not gonna have he's just not gonna have a bad day. Renato Moicano defeats, Alexander Hernandez here from, the guy from here from San Antonio, via submission, rear naked choke in the second round. I mean, he just caught him clean, and then he just got him right into the choke after he caught him, and then it was done. There's really not much to say. Alexander Hernandez, I know he just changed camps and stuff like that, but he needs to be. He's got a lot of talent. You can see it in him, but he's letting these ones that he can get slip away. So hopefully he can bounce around. I'll always root for a guy from here, San Antonio. Jared Cannonier defeats Derek Brunson via elbows. Man, Brunson had him in the first round. Like, he was working him. Like, damn. Like, Cannonier was in trouble. Julian, you good? Sorry. But nah, man, and then just Cannonier just started tagging him up, in a second, and Derek Brunson was just looked gassed. He looked hurt. He didn't look. He looked discombobulated. He looked like he was in place for it, and then just to get dropped, and then just get wailed by elbows nonstop. And his Brunson's team tried to throw in a towel, but I mean, he's already done. The ref tried to stop him. It's just is what it is. And just a beautiful match win for Jared Cannonier because now he gets a contend. He gets a challenge for the UFC middleweight title. Now he can go ahead and take the opportunity to get that crown. So we'll see how that goes. He should be the next challenger. You never know. Nothing's ever promised until it's signed on the contract. Co-main event, Tai Tuivasa beats Derek Lewis in his hometown of Houston via an elbow. My gosh, these two behemoth boys, they're big boys, just they're big, they're strong, they're muscly men, and they just went at it, swinging for the fences. There were a lot of times I thought Tai Tuivasa was out, and he just kept throwing hands back, and then he landed some good combos with some good elbows and a nice punch, and then just finishing off holding the side of the head of Derek Lewis, and boom, one elbow, and Timber just falls down, man. Derek Lewis, oh, poor guy. I mean, to lose back-to-back fights in his hometown of Houston, it's just a shame, man. But Tuivasa, sorry, is on a roll right now. He's now number 3 ranked fighter in the heavyweight division. So we'll see it. Maybe like one more win and he'll get a title shot because the championship line is still pretty stacked. You still got the champion Francis Ngannou who's going to take some time off because of ACL MCL injury. You got supposedly Dana White wants to do John Jones versus Stipe Miocic for the interim title, and then you still got Cyril Gane. So if I'm Dana, I'm going to go with giving Tai Tuivasa some time off. And then booking them maybe for a September, August fight with Cyril Gane. Let's book that John Jones Stipe fight. And if Ngannou is not ready yet, that interim title be defended against the winner of Tuivasa versus Gane. And let's go, man. That heavyweight division is looking really good right now. So let's see how it goes. So hopefully John Jones will accept the fight if they pay him enough. Hopefully they pay him enough. We've seen a lot of issues, with pay. So hopefully that gets fixed. All right, and the main event, Israel Adesanya defeats Robert Whittaker 5 rounds, all the way to decision. Some judges just scored it 3-2. Some judges scored it. One judge scored it 4-1. I personally scored it 4-1. Robert Whittaker just never felt threatening to Izzy. He never felt like he was gonna push him back to the ropes, like really engaging. I feel like Whittaker was point fighting. And unfortunately, point fighting is not enough. It's just not going to be enough. Not against Izzy. Izzy's still a multi-talented dude. And there's that fear that, I know Whittaker probably had, coming off from his first fight with Izzy. He was charging a little more. He was being a little more aggressive, and he got caught. And, and then he got knocked out. And he didn't want to repeat that. But honestly, you have to keep Adesanya on his toes. You got to keep the pressure on him. You can't just go for the point fighting. Point fighting ain't going to do anything for him. He was aggressive on the takedowns. He took him down a few times, but Izzy got right back up. There was never a time Izzy was threatened. So Izzy was pretty much having a sparring match. And I know there's a lot of people like former UFC fighters, former champions criticizing Izzy. Like, look, man, he just has to do his job. He doesn't have to do anything that puts him at risk. You've seen champions who put themselves at risk and then they lose. Whittaker's the last example. George St. Pierre, when he lost to Matt Serra, is an example. You see it a lot. So if he doesn't feel a need like he needs to go 100, then you're not, as an opponent, you're not putting him into that situation where he has to go 100. So that's going to be more on the challengers. I mean, the last time we saw Izzy finish a fight was the Paulo Costa fight. And Costa was hanging around trying to do anything but fight, so we'll see what happens next. Izzy should be fighting Jared Cannonier next. It should be an interesting matchup. I think Cannonier will make it a little more not threatening, but I think he'll engage more with Izzy. I think he's willing to eat some shots from Izzy to get it. And sometimes that's what it takes. Like, I'm not saying eat a clean shot. I'm saying take 3 punches to get that one good one in. Sometimes what you need. I think Cannonier is willing to do that, especially now that he's going to get a title shot fuck it. You might never get a title shot again. You gotta go for the fences. So Whitaker's now 0-2 with Izzy. I don't see a third match happening. And Whitaker might have to go up weight class or down just to maybe chance for a title or hope that someone beats Izzy because I don't see a third match. I know he thinks he won the fight, but there's not a third match happening. Like, I'm sorry, there's just not. I'm not interested. I don't think the world is interested with him with that one. So, all right, moving on. The Super Bowl 56 game. Ooh, what a interesting game that was. I know a lot of people were pulling for the Cincinnati Bengals to defeat the Rams, but that wasn't the case. It was not the case. The Rams pulled out a comeback because they were down. They were losing going into the fourth and stuff, right? So, Julian, my son, um, it's tough to say, man. I mean, like Joe Shikesey's such a good young talent, man. To get to the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, a plus 8,000 in betting to get to the Super Bowl, or to win the Super Bowl. To get them that close, to get them to what it was. The score was 23-20. Early on, it looked like the Rams were on the flow. You got the ball to Cooper Kupp, you get it to Odell. You don't run the ball very well, unfortunately, against the Bengals. This matchup, there was no real rushing uh, success for the Rams. But Odell got the first touchdown, and then he caught one more ball, and then after that, it's all she wrote. Unfortunately, Odell would go on to tear his ACL, and that really swung the momentum back to the Bengals because while there was a lot of 3-and-outs or a lot of short drives, that maybe some people felt the game was a little boring because I've heard that critique. I thought it just made it more tough on the defenses to show. Like it gave me a little bit of flashbacks of the Super Bowl 53 matchup between the Rams and the Patriots. Where it was more of a defensive battle. And so you see, Joe Burrow, coming up with some different plays. The coaching staff, Joe Mixon throwing a touchdown pass. And so. So it made the game a little more interesting in my view. So overall, congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams, man. Cooper Kupp MVP. I know a lot of people disagree with that. I actually don't. I think he is the MVP. He had to work the load that he would have had if extra since they didn't have Robert Woods, they didn't have Odell Beckham Jr. in the game no more. Darrell Henderson was being more used as a wide receiver too because Van Jefferson wasn't catching some balls. The other receiver, the fourth receiver the fifth receiver, sorry, on the team wasn't really catching the balls. He kept dropping them, so it was really more on Kupp and Henderson. So Aaron Donald did work though. I mean that defense, that front line, making sure Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, just making sure nothing happened. And man, I don't know about what y'all think for the ones that haven't seen it. But for those who did, what was your thoughts when when Jalen Ramsey fell on the last play that the Bengals drive, and Jamar Chase was wide open, but unfortunately by then Joe Burrow was already on the ground throwing a Hail Mary pass, 5 yards to the right, just trying to get the ball out of his hands. But it's insane, if that had happened, if he had been successful to throw that ball and Jamar Chase goes and they win the game, I mean, it was crazy. I think it was a lot of fun. Let's just say that it was refreshing. We don't. It was the first year we haven't had a Tom Brady in there. We haven't had some familiar faces. Matthew Stafford, for all the criticism he's had, he finally made it to the big game and he won it, right? Like he was able to pull it out. He did throw 2 interceptions. One was his fault. It was severely underthrown in the end zone. The other one was tipped. So by his own team, by his own player. So that was more on that. That's what made the game real close. So overall, a fun matchup. We'll see what happens next year. Rams, for giving up all those first round picks, you got the award you wanted, but it might cost you, right? Because you don't have enough cap space to get all these guys, to bring back everybody. Aaron Donald might not come back if Odell's not back, if Von Miller's not back, if all these other players that he wants to play with. He might retire on top, and good for Aaron Donald. I think he should, if he feels like he's done everything he could for this league and good for him, man. Good for him. He's gonna go down as one of the best offenders, if not the best offender in the world. Probably not the best offender ever, but will go down as one. Andrew Whitworth, man of the year, now Super Bowl champion, right out to the sunset, man. Eric Weddle, a lot of props to you, man. Tearing freaking muscles, ligaments in your arm and still playing and going out there and still making a difference for your team. Congratulations. Enjoy retirement again, buddy. Um, Cooper Cup, MVP, dude. I don't know how you're not concussed. You got that headshot in at the end zone with oh, let me touch on that real quick. But Cooper Cup, I'm glad you're not concussed, man. And you look dizzy as hell after you got hit. For anyone who's criticizing the Bengals getting robbed from the holding call, y'all remember how the second half started? Right? The Rams got Jalen Ramsey got hooked by face mask, and Higgins was able to go in for a touchdown with no problem. Was it Higgins or Boyd? It's one of the two. I think it was Higgins. But there was a missed call there, and then there was a call that probably shouldn't have been thrown. Whatever. The refs were really a non-factor in this game. And then the other two penalties at the end, that was on Eli Apple, blocking foul, passing interference, all that stuff. That was on him. Eli Apple got smoked on Twitter. Social media had a good day with him. So overall, man, I hope the best for both teams moving forward. I think I see Joe Burrow has a bright future, and I heard for him when he went down and screamed in agony when his knee got twisted. I don't remember if that's the leg that got injured, with all the ligament damage just a year and a half ago. Hopefully it wasn't, but I mean, just to go out there and still keep on playing, trying for his team, great, man. He still got a tough road, right? FC is going to be a tough monster for him to reclaim that title. The Chiefs will still be there. They'll try to get better. They'll come up with another scheme to try to beat the Bengals. The division's still the toughest ones. The AFC North. You still got the Bills right there. Josh Allen, if he can get them there, it's going to be a threat still. But overall, that was a fun, NFL season. 18 weeks, 17 games for each team, and the playoffs. It's just been an interesting, fun sports week. And now we're gonna go months without actual football play. We have, the NBA All-Star weekend right now, as I'm taping this, and then I mean UFC, boxing. There's a lot of things going on right now. Canelo just signed a 2-fight contract deal with DAZN. For a rematch with Triple G. I think he's challenging for the light heavyweight title. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, in the next video, guys, I can get or next podcast, I can get some of the guys back. But I know Art would being a new dad. I know that's gonna take a while. Respect it. Take all the time you need, buddy, with your daughter. But I hope I can get someone on board here to help me talk, sports about, because doing solo is, almost a no-go for me sometimes. So, but anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Follow the guys everywhere on their social medias. Y'all know where to go. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Boyle Beach Sports. On Twitter, follow us at Beach Sports Pod. I'm Jose Garza, guys. We are Puro Pinche Sports, and we are out.